Was the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Butterfree. We're on to Lorelei. So the first thing we'll want to look at is Butterfree stats. Now, as you'll note, the special is really good. Remember, in Gen 1, special is just one stat, so the special attack and special defense is just one stat. So this graphic's a little off, but special is pretty good, and speed isn't terrible. I mean, overall, Butterfree as a Pokemon's not great. It's a bug type, late game, they never do well, but it could be worse. And then the next thing we'll want to look at is Butterfree's move pool. And again, could be worse, but not great. So Butterfree does get Psychic, which is probably one of the better moves in the game. That Ice Beam can take you pretty far. And Mega Drain, which is nice because you're able to heal. And of course it has Mimic. But the other thing we want to talk about is Sleep. Sleep in Gen 1, the turn that they wake up, they can't attack. So you get a little heads up that they're going to wake up. And Sleep Powder is 75% accurate. So it's pretty easy to put them to sleep. So with those two things put together, it made me pretty excited for this Butterfree run. And then we have the Slowbro. So here we go. We put him to sleep. That's what we're going to do for every Pokemon probably ever. And then, as you know, if you've been watching for any amount of time, we are going to Mimic Amnesia. This does a couple things for us. One, obviously it raises our special. So like I said, it'll raise our special attack and defense, which is great. But then there's also the badge boost you get from it. And just a refresher, the badge boost is there's 4 of the 8 gym leaders. When you beat them, they say, oh, now your attack has gone up. Now your speed has gone up. And for whatever reason, when your stat is modified, good or bad, you get 12.5% roughly boost on each of those stats as well. But when you level up, it goes away. So like right there, I don't have my speed, my defense anymore, or my attack. Or the special, but I have the special I got from the Amnesia, just not the badge boost anymore. But it doesn't really matter, honestly, because I'm just going to put them to sleep and be a little butt. I mean, it's like I said, not my favorite way to do it, but this is the perk of Butterfree. It's a bug late game, so I'm going to use what its mother gave them, you know? And then we're on the Lapras, same deal here, Sleep Powder. So yeah. Again, appreciate all the support. Thank you guys. Like, comment, follow. Even a dinky little comment helps out a bunch. So the question I ask you is, was the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Butterfree? We are on to Bruno. So Butterfree matches up against Bruno really well. It has Psychic for the fighting type. It has the Gen 1 Sleep, which is just insane. And then it has Mega Drain, so we pretty much get a free setup on our Mimic Hardens on the Onix, because even if it does do damage, we can go ahead and just heal up. And then right before the big baddie Machamp, there is another Onix that we can heal up on. Butterfree special is already pretty decent, so we don't really have to worry about the Hitmonchan too much in this one. And then with all these Hardens, nothing else really becomes an issue. I honestly think you could probably beat Bruno at like level 35, if you could get to him at that level. I do go ahead and skip the sleep on this because I am faster. With all that badge boosting, I am going to just take it out. Hitmonlee is quick, but we get a lucky little miss there. Not that it would have mattered too much. We go ahead and knock that out. Go ahead and get the Mega Drain on Onix. So the Machamp's a little bit scary. Not really, though, because we're going to go ahead and Psychic. It is not going to knock it out. It goes for a Leer, which we'll see if our badge boost will put us over. And then we get that Focus Energy, which really does nothing in Gen 1. And then we go ahead and take out the Machamp. Level up, and that is Bruno for you. Thank you guys again for watching. Like, comment, follow, and the question I ask you is, what is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Butterfree? We are on to Agatha. Now, we refer to Agatha as the Agatha Lottery. The reason being is she uses her moves at random, and the moves that she can use also are very random. So like Confuse Ray. Are you going to be able to attack through Confusion when you're put to sleep? When are you going to wake up? Stuff like this. And she also swaps out her Pokemon a fair amount more than other trainers do. But lucky for us, just like Bruno, Butterfree has a really good matchup against Agatha. As you'll see, we mimicked Dream Eater. This is because we are already going to be putting them to sleep, and then we can use Dream Eater to heal. Another bonus for Butterfree against Agatha is actually a Poison type gym leader, and we have Psychic, and we also have Dream Eater, which is a Psychic move, so we're going to do pretty well. One thing I did just want to talk about, I apologize for the videos being so long. One thing I'm a firm believer in is not wasting your guys' time. That's why I never do, like for part 2 or anything like that. But given the nature of Butterfree's strategy using sleep, all of these battles are taking a really long time. And then when I go into the TikTok editor and speed it up too fast, it'll clip my video for whatever reason. So we're just kind of stuck with it. But thank you for sticking along. So the strategy continues to be the same. We're going to use Sleep Powder, and then we're either going to use Dream Eater or Psychic, depending on where we're at. Now, Sleep Powder is 75% accurate, so we're pretty confident we're going to hit most of the time. For a sleep move, that is incredible. So we're going to go ahead and knock out the Arbok here, and then we do believe the Sleep Pokemon will come out, so we should be able to heal, no big deal. One thing you'll note, though, is Butterfree is slower than most of these Pokemon, so if we use Dream Eater at the wrong time, the Pokemon could wake up, and then we basically waste a turn, and then they get a free hit on us, because before we can use Sleep Powder, they're faster. And then also, there's a 25% chance for it to miss. So it's not totally free at this level, but if you were like level 55, this would just be the most free battle if you outsped these Pokemon. And you will see they do get off Confuse Rays, but we're able to get through it. And then we're going to continue to use Dream Eater to heal up, so even if we do get some bad luck coming up, we can hold ourselves off. The really only attacking move that we have to worry about is Nightshade, and we know we can handle at least 2 of those if we're at full health. But I get risky here. I just go for it. I want it to be over. So there we go. The question I ask you is, what is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Butterfree? We are on to Lance. So the strategy going in is going to be about the same. We're going to put him to sleep. We're going to try to take him out. So the strategy coming in is going to be about the same. We're going to put the Pokemon to sleep. We're going to try to take him out. A couple things we're going to want to note is my level, and we have a new move. So the new move is Psy-Wave. What Psy-Wave does is, in Gen 1 it's different. It doesn't work this way in the newer gens, but in Gen 1 it does between 50% and 150% of your level in power points. So if you were level 50, it would do between 25 damage points and 75 damage points. And the reason that we had to have this move instead is because when we would get far enough, we would run out of PP. And how you use your PP is probably the most important thing, because if you don't use it correctly, you're going to be left with struggle. And if you try to struggle against the Dragonite, it's not going to work. The other thing I want to talk about is, if you notice our level, it's a bit higher than when we beat Agatha. And the reason for that is we wouldn't do enough damage, and we would actually put them in the healing range for Lance to use a potion. And whether he does or doesn't seems to be kind of random, but it was happening enough where if he uses too many potions or uses them on certain Pokemon, we will run out of PP moves, and then we'll be left to struggle, and then we just can't win. The reason why it took so long to put out this video is because I really wanted Butterfree to beat Beedrill. So I was trying, and it just wasn't working. So then I bit the bullet, and I said, all right, Butterfree, I guess you can't win against Beedrill here. So level 55, we're going in against Sleep Powder. That's what we're going to be doing. I'm using my Psy-Wave specifically before Psychic. The reason for that is on the Dragonite, I want to hope for its special to fall, because then even if it does heal up and its specials down, I'm doing more damage. So we want to get rid of the Psy-Waves first. I do use some Psychics here and there, but it's better to use Psychic on the Dragonite than it is to use Psy-Wave. So then at this point, again, we're going to put it to sleep, and we're just going to try to spam Agility. I do this because I want that badge boost as well. This was actually the first run after I got to level 55, so I wasn't sure when I was going to level up, so that's why I saved it. I could have actually used the Agility right after I mimicked it, and when I made this a little smoother, but I didn't know when I was going to level up or not. There you go. That's Lance. Butterfree did it. So the question I ask you is, what's the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Butterfree? We are on to Blue. So I tried a fair amount of different strategies on Blue. I tried mimicking Wing Attack to take out the Alakazam with the physical move. I tried mimicking Recover to have health the whole way through. I tried mimicking Horn Drill to one-shot KO the Executor and the Blastoise, but nothing really seemed to work. So the thing is, you really want to outspeed this Alakazam, but I don't. The reason is it gets a move off on you, and it's not ideal. So I go ahead and I mimic Recover. Now, if it hits me with the Psychic there, it's not good, but it went for Psybeam luckily, so then I have time to recover. Again, outspeeding this Alakazam would be sweet, and you really have to get lucky if you're not going to be outspeeding the Alakazam, because also, look at how much damage I do to it, and even a Psychic doesn't do what Psywave does on at least half the hit. So I got lucky there, 3-hit KO on Alakazam. That doesn't happen often. And then on the Rhydon, we go ahead, put him to sleep. I'm just being safe and I'm recovering here. The Rhydon really can't do a whole lot. If you look at its moves, Leer, Tail Whip are actually ideal. Fury Attack is the one thing you don't want, and Horn Drill I don't think actually works. In Horn Drill, if the Pokemon's base stat isn't higher than the one that it's using Horn Drill on, it just will never work. So like Tauros is never going to get Horn Drilled. But that being said, I want full health once I'm done with this Rhydon, so I go ahead. It's got really bad specials, so Psychic's doing pretty good. I use Psywave because I want to conserve Psychics for the Blastoise in case I need to get its special to drop. Ember's not ideal, but we have that good special, so it was okay. End up getting the RK9 put asleep, and then we're just going to go ahead and try to knock this out. And this is really just showcasing how cheap Sleep is in Gen 1, especially with a 75% accurate move, and especially if you outspeed. They can get lucky and get through, but there's not a whole lot they can do to you. The Executor is kind of a pain. I wasn't sure if Sleep Powder was going to work on a grass type or not, but it looks like it does in this gen. And then I'm just going for Psywave, just like I did with the Alakazam, because Psychic's not going to do a whole lot, even though the special drop would be cool. Executor doesn't really use special moves, and I have Psywave left, so that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and recover because, again, I am nervous about this Blastoise. I don't have Mega Drain anymore. And I get risky for the Bisky here, and I knock out the Executor, so that was awesome. Again, we are relying on luck in a lot of these runs. That's kind of the whole point. I want to see what is the lowest level you could do it. I know as a kid, I kind of struggled with these games, and now that I understand the mechanics, it's kind of fun to see how low I could have done it. So Blastoise is asleep, and then we're just going to use Psychic until the day's done. It woke up, doesn't matter because we have that extra turn. How poetic. So there you go. A question I'm going to ask you is,